Hi everyone, my name is Mary and welcome back to Queen Ink. Today in this video we are now going to be connecting both the top and the bottom piece of our sleeves. So you are going to want your 5.5mm hook, and in this video you are going to want some stitch markers. These stitch markers are going to help you let you know where the larger part of your arm is going to be. As you can see right here, I do have a stitch marker. And I have one on this side as well. This is telling me this whole portion right here is where I'm going to, this portion of the sleeve is going to tell me this is where the bigger part of my arm is. Now the reason why it is short is because on your arm, you're not going to put this all the way up to your shoulders. Okay, so it's going to go a quarter way down your forearm. Okay, so that's why we are wanting to have a shorter portion, and then this is the other part of our arm. Now we are going to be doing single crochet granny stitch and the double crochet granny stitch. Okay, so let's get this started. Go ahead and put your stitch markers on. The best thing I would suggest is putting this onto your arm and finding out where that elbow is, or where the bend of your arm is. When your arm bends, that is where the bigger part is going to be. And so you can put this onto your arm and go, okay, this is where the bend is, or this is where the bigger part is after the bend. So hopefully that helps. If you're wondering how many stitches I did to my stitch marker, we'll go to the end right here where the 3 single crochets are, and we'll go to the middle portion right here. And we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So it's 20 stitches. And then make sure this is 20 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 19, and 20. And then this middle one looks like 21. So I am going to want to back this one up by 1 stitch. And there we go. So that's 20 stitches on both sides. Excuse me, on both sides. And then you will take your other sleeve. Now when you put this sleeve together, make sure all of your triangles are facing the same way. So the blue triangles are facing up and the purple triangles are facing down. Excuse me one moment. Alrighty, sorry about that, I'm back. So you will connect the triangles like this, make sure they're all facing, and then that way you will know this is where I'm going to pull this apart, and it'll go right into that stitch right there. You can also count your stitches as well. Alrighty, so let's get started with the video. We're going to be doing single crochets on the smaller end, or the larger end. So this is the bigger end where your arm bends, and then this is the smaller end from your elbow all the way to your wrist. Okay, so let's get started. Alrighty, so in order to start this sleeve, I am going to zoom in. You're going to take one portion of your sleeve and the other portion of your sleeve and pull it up like this. Make sure you have your slip knot. We're going to go to the end, pretty much where the corner is right here. So 1, 2, and 3. And right here in the very middle, this is where we're going to put our slip stitch. So put your yarn onto your hook, pull through, move your yarn tail out of the way, yarn over and pull, and then I normally like to pull up and tighten. Alrighty, so we are going to do the single crochet granny strip or stitch, excuse me. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to go over here and we're going to find this stitch right here, the middle one. So 1, 2, 3 of the corner of the other sleeve. Pop right into that middle stitch, grab your working yarn, pull through, and pull through. And there you go, you are nice and attached. Now we're going to go back into the stitch for 3 single crochets. So 1, go into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. I apologize, my husband is just snoring away today. So I'm sorry if you keep constantly hearing that. I can't seem to record without him sleeping. Alright, so 3 single crochets and then also the 1 single crochet right here on the side and the chain 1. Alrighty, so you're going to go back to this one over here. So we just put a slip stitch right into this stitch. We're going to skip 2 and into the third one we're going to do a slip stitch. There we go. And then there you go. So that's that stitch all done and ready to go. And then back down here to this sleeve, you're going to skip 2 and 3 single crochets right into that third stitch. 1, 2, and 3. And sorry about the shadow, I can't seem to figure out what's wrong with it. Okay, hopefully that works. Alright, so next you're going to go back to this sleeve. 1, 2, and into the third one you're going to put a slip stitch. Back to this one, 1 and 2, and into the third one 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then back to this one. Remember, this one in the back right here is where we put our slip stitch. So you want to skip that, and then 1, 2, and into the third one a slip stitch. Now I think at this point you kind of already know how to do this stitch. You're going to do this stitch all the way down until you get to this stitch marker right here. Okay? And then I will meet you right down here in just a few moments. Alrighty, so I am back and I made it to the stitch marker, as you can see. Now you're going to get to this point where you are going to have maybe 1 stitch or 2 stitches before you get to your next one. Same with the slip stitch, as you can see right here. And that's okay. So what you'll do is you'll just put, since I just did my 3 single crochets right here, I'm just going to put a slip stitch right here where that stitch marker is. Even though it's 1 stitch, if you saw that, it was actually 1 stitch instead of 3 stitches. So it's just 1, and then this was 2, and then it was supposed to go into this one. So that's okay. We're just going to go right into this stitch right here and not worry about it. So we're going to slip stitch real quick, and then we're going to skip the 1 stitch and into where the stitch marker is. That's where we're going to put our 3 single crochets. Now if you're having problems, you can also move your stitch marker. If you heard that scratching or clawing, my kitty cat's on the back of my chair and she's clawing my chair right now. So remember, we're at this point, skip 1 stitch and into the next we're just going to put 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so there you go. If you're wondering why we are doing this single crochet pattern, it's because we want a tighter sleeve, and if we did the double crochet it would be way too tall of stitches, plus you'd have too much room. Now if that's something that you would like to do, you can do that instead of the single crochet. I tried it both ways with the double crochet, and then I tried it with the single crochet. This was actually a pretty big sleeve, so you ended up having lots and lots of room within your sleeve right here. And so I figured maybe if I did single crochet, this would be a little bit tighter for my sleeve instead of too tight. Okay, so now one more thing before we go on to making this portion of our sleeve. So in this portion, this bigger portion where we have our stitch markers, we are going to do a double crochet. Now on one side we're going to do 2 rows, and on another side we're going to do 3 to 4 rows of the granny pattern. So you will want to decide, do I want to do the 2 rows on this side first and then flip it over and then do 4 rows on this side. On my last sleeve it was 4 rows. I ended up messing up on it pretty badly. Instead of both sides being even like this one, the one where I did 2 rows was all the way down here. So I did single crochet, and then when I got to this point all of this was 2 rows, and then on this side it was so much shorter and I was like, oh boy, I'm gonna have to redo that. Okay, so enough talking. So let's get back to the video. Okay, once you have decided which side you are going to start each of your rows, so if on one side you want to do 2 rows and on the other side you want to do 4 rows, then that's fine. So what I'm going to do is on this side we're going to do the 4 rows. Okay, and so what you're going to do is pull this off to the side. Okay, because if we're doing 4 rows of this, you are not going to want to connect this sleeve just yet. We'll do it on the 4th row. Okay, so now that we are right here, what we're going to do is skip 2. You're not going to chain 1 or anything. And you're going to go right into that 3rd stitch and make 3 double crochets. Okay, so this is how we're going to get to the height that we're looking for our sleeve. So remember when I told you that you have your arm, and where your elbow is, it bends. And so where that bend is, that's where you want a thicker portion. So that forearm that goes up to your shoulder is a little thicker and bigger than your normal arm. I'm sorry, I'm having problems remembering which one the name of each arm. I really apologize. Okay, so again you will skip 2, 3 double crochets, no chaining, skip 2 stitches because these are stitches. Remember in the last video we did stitches, and 3 double crochets. What I'm going to do is I'm going to meet you down at the end once I have this first row, and then we will continue on for the next row. So I will be back shortly. Alright, I'm back, and we are coming up to the end right here where the 3 single crochets are in that corner. Now as you can see we have 4 stitches. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to skip 1 stitch, and into the next stitch I'm going to put 3 double crochets. So this is another one of those things where when you get to the end, a lot of times you don't have all the stitches that you need. So you just kind of try and find a solution, such as either skipping 1 stitch instead of 2, and it's okay because it doesn't compromise. So now we're coming up to the end. This is our last stitch. I'm going to put 3 double crochets into that last stitch, which is the middle single crochet from that corner. So you see 1, 2, and 3, and then there's the middle. And that's what we want. Now at this point, okay, so there you go. So there's the stitch all the way from the single crochet right here. Now normally at this point what I would do is I would chain 1 and then put a double crochet in here. We're not going to do that. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put a double crochet right into here, and I'm not going to chain 1. Okay, and that way from doing that it actually ends the row, so that way we're not trying to increase and make our sleeve go like this, kind of like at a slant. Okay, so that is row number 1. We're going to do row number 2, so you're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work. So give me 1 second. Okay, I'm going to flip it over, grab my yarn, and there we go. Now, when you get to row number 2, you're going to just basically double crochet right into that first double crochet, just like this. Okay, just double crochet right into there. And yes, I know we have a space there, but you're going to skip that space because we already put a double crochet in there, and you're going to skip right over these 3 and put 3 double crochets into the next spacing. And this is how you would work what is called the granny stripe instead of the granny square. The granny square or the granny triangle is where you work in rounds. We're just going back and forth. So the next one you would put 3 double crochets just like before, and you're going to do this until you get back to the end where the single crochet was, and I will meet you there in just a few moments. So I will meet you, oh, let me put that down for a minute, right here. So that way we can just put a double crochet right here instead of 3 double crochets. Okay, so I will see you in just a few moments. Okay, I am back and I made it to the end right here. As you can see, this is the single crochet. And then there is the non-chain. That's where we just went straight over. So we're going to put 3 double crochets right into this stitch right here. Okay, so there's 1. Here's 2. And here's, whoops, here's number 3. I apologize for the shadowing. I tried to move my light. My kitty girl's on the desk right now, and she's probably asking me to feed her, because she always does that. So here, I'm just going to move the camera. We get to see my little sody bug. There she is, right next to the light. She's my little baby girl. Yep, there she is. See, she's all sitting in the dark. She's like, hello. She likes to be on camera. And that's why we have shadows sometimes in the video. Alright, so you got to get a little glimpse of Sonia. She is my baby girl. Okay, so now we're here. So what we're going to do is you're going to turn your work. So we are working this way, and then the panel that we flipped over is right here. So what you're going to want to do is pull out your crochet hook. I'm just moving stuff over. Turn your work this way. Okay, just like this. And pull the flap right here towards you like this. Okay? And then flip it down. There we go. Okay, so then we're looking at these stitches right here. Now I know this is kind of strange. So what we're going to do is here, I'll turn it again. We'll turn it back around. So now that you did that, turn it back around to where you can crochet. But now this time, the other portion of the sleeve is right here. Make sure to move all your yarn out of the way, so that way it doesn't get caught within the sleeve. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. So now we're back to our crochet right here. Okay, we're on row number 2. We're going to, okay, so with this one right here, we ended up just going straight into this stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight into that stitch for a double crochet. 3 double crochets, okay? 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and there we go. Just like that. Okay, so now we have this lovely stitch right here. What we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch right into it. Yes, go under the stitch instead of over like you normally would. Okay, go under the stitch like this. And I'll zoom my camera in so you can see that. Okay, so you're going to go under the stitch. Grab your working yarn and pull around like this. And then grab it and pull it through. And then this stitch, sometimes you want to pull them apart. Take this stitch right here and pull up, and that will give you your slip stitch. Now what you're going to do, I'm trying to move my yarn out of the way, is you're going to turn your work this way. Okay, so that way we are now working for our third row. Now this will not be our final row because we have row number 4 and that will be our final row. And what you can do is you can also slip stitch into this one as well. Slip stitch, and we'll count that like a double crochet, but now it's finally connected so we don't have all these missing pieces and parts. And now we're just going to move this out of the way, this top sleeve. We're going to move this now out of the way. Oops, sorry, I hit my camera. And now we're going to put 3 double crochets right into here. So 1, okay, 2, and 3. And you guessed it, you're going to go back down the row, putting 3 double crochets into every single spacing where my fingers are at. And I will meet you right back here into this, actually I'll meet you right here to this last spacing, okay? So I will be back shortly. Alrighty, we are back, and I made it right down here at the very end, you guessed it. So now we're going to put 3 double crochets into this spacing right here. Okay. 2 and 3. Alright, so as for this little spacing right here, we're going to put 3 double crochets right into the spacing. Okay. 2, excuse me, and 3. I apologize for the shadows. Again, I don't have both of my lights at the moment. My cat is still, see, this is her little fuzzy tail. She's still sitting on my desk. I think she is waiting for me to feed her. I'm going to feed her in just a moment. Okay, so now we have this very last stitch. This stitch, you're going to yarn over and just double crochet right into that very last stitch, okay? And that is what's going to give you this straight edge. Here she comes. Her butt is right on my hand. I'm not even kidding. You see this thing right here? This is her big old fuzzy tail, and she is telling me, hey, are you gonna feed me? It's time. She always tells me when to take a break and when she wants a feeding. She's my little baby girl. I love her. And yeah, she's like, okay, come on. Here's my tail. Feed me. This is Sonia. She's my baby girl. We're going to put this down for just a moment. I apologize. So here she is. Here's the back end of her. And here is the front end of her. And right now she's giving me the cold back. Like, I'm very upset with you. Why won't you feed me? So there she is. There's my little baby girl. She's such a sweetheart. She is a Siamese. Okay. But I think she's a mixed breed, to be quite honest. She's a lot sweeter than most Siamese. And she's a lot darker, too. And right now she is sitting underneath my light. As you can see right here, this is my light. And she is sitting right underneath it. And she's got this look on her face like, alright, you done? Get off the camera. Feed me. So I'm going to feed Sonia. That's what she wants. I'm going to feed her real quick. And then we will get back to the video. Say hello, Sonia. She does meow. She does. She meows a lot. Yeah, there she is. She meows a lot. But right now she's not meowing. She's just like, okay, you're done. Get off the camera. There she is. She's got beautiful, beautiful blue eyes. Gorgeous blue eyes. We had another kitty as well. Her name was Diamond, and she passed away sadly. She was a very, very old kitty cat. I had her, oh my gosh, close to 30 years. Yeah. I've had Sonia for a good 10 years. Okay, well, we'll get back to the video shortly. Whoa. And yeah, she knocked the camera over. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'll be back shortly. I'm gonna go feed Sonia. Alrighty, I am back, and I fed my cat. She is happy and excited. So now we are going to finish our very last row, row number 4. As you can see, we are 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we left off with Sonia wanting to be fed and us putting 1 double crochet right into there. Okay, so we are going to chain 1. We are now going to turn our work. Okay, so you're just going to flip it like this. Okay, there we go. And now you are going to make sure that your top or bottom piece is now going to be in front of you, because you're going to be working now into these single crochet stitches. And we are now going to put a single crochet right into this top single crochet, just like this. Okay, and then you're going to grab this one, and where the corner is right here where the 3 single crochets are, you're going to want to put a slip stitch right into this top single crochet stitch right here. Whoop. Okay, just like that. And then we are going to go back to the stitches right here, and into this spacing you are going to put 3 double crochets so we can keep that pattern going. 2 and 3. Okay, 3 double crochets, just like that. Just like we've been doing in all of the videos. Okay, you're going to pull this up, and you are going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and into the 3rd stitch. I'm going through the top. If you would like, you may go through the bottom like this. It does not matter. Still going to be the same. And then we're going to flip this up, and we're going to find the next spacing. We're going to put 3 double crochets. You guessed it, the slip stitch is going to be your chain 1s in between your 3 double crochets. Okay, skip the next 2 stitches because you put a slip stitch into this one. So 1, 2, and into this one, make a slip stitch. And you guessed it, move your work aside. Find that next spacing. As you can see, this is where the 3 double crochets are, and that is the spacing that we're going to put 3 more double crochets right into. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to meet you down here at the bottom, and then we will finish up. Alrighty, I'm back, and I know this looks a little weird. Your work is going to bunch up like this. So what's going to be happening here is I put a slip stitch into this stitch right here. That means I skipped 2 stitches, and into the 3rd I slip stitch. Now we only have 1 more stitch to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch right into this stitch, this very last stitch. Okay, and then you're going to put, you have to pull your work apart, 3 double crochets into that spacing. Now it is going to be kind of tight, so if you need to, pull your work apart while you are crocheting, so that way you can get your stitches into that spacing. Okay, so now here we are, and we're like, well, what are we going to do now? Well, now what you're going to do is you're just going to slip stitch right into this. Hold on. So we slip stitched here, we're going to slip stitch into this very last one. You guessed it, 1 little slip stitch. So when you turn your work, which I'm going to try and do, okay, so when you turn your work and you're now looking at this side, and you move your hook out of the way, you can pull your work apart and you will see that it's in that slip stitch right there. Okay, so then we have it nice and connected. I know it's really difficult to see with this dark blue yarn, but as you can see, this is where our very last stitch is, and this is where my loop was. Okay, you can always pull it apart like this and see, oh, okay, there's the stitch right there. So we slip stitched right into there. Okay, now if you feel like it's still not secure, you may also slip stitch into the next stitch right here, if you please. Sorry, I keep forgetting that my camera was zoomed in. So if you feel that this isn't secure enough, you can slip stitch back into here, or you can slip stitch right into this little single crochet right here. That is another option you can do, and I will actually do that. So I'm going to turn my work, flip it back over, move my yarn, and since I feel it is still not secure, what I'm going to do is I'll slip stitch right into these little bars where our single crochet was, yarn over and pull through and pull through. Okay, and then we'll grab our scissors. Alright, so you will just take your scissors and you will cut your yarn, and then you will yarn over and pull through and pull right up and then tighten. And then you can take a look at your work. So this one is going to be the bigger portion. Okay, so there we go. So you have 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now if you do these 4 rows, this will be for the bottom of your arm. Because as these will go, your arm will go, sorry, a little exhausted, I had to find the scissors. So how these will go is your arm will go through this hole right here, okay, and this will be the bottom of your arm right here. So that way it gives it more room, as you can see, to get your arm in there. And then on the top portion right here, or on this portion right here, this is where again we will do the single crochet granny square. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll meet you right back here. So what you can do is you can rewind the video, okay, and it shows you how to connect your yarn and then do the single crochet granny pattern. I almost said strip. And then I will meet you right here, okay, where I will be doing the 2 rows instead of the 4 rows, so this will be the top of your arm. Okay, so I will be back shortly and I will meet you right back here at this stitch marker. Alrighty, I am back, and I did the single crochet granny pattern all the way down, as you can see, and we are getting very close to the stitches. Let's take a look and see how many I have. So it looks like I have 2 more, and then I am just going to slip stitch into this one, and then it looks like I'll have 2 more stitches. So we'll just do that real quick. So I skipped 2, and the 3rd slip stitched. Okay, and then now for this one, it looks like I can skip 2, and then I can put 3 single crochets right into that stitch. Okay, so I'm going to do that real quick. So 1, 2, and 3. And I apologize, it is a little bit difficult to see. I will try and make it a little more easier, but there you go, there's the 3 single crochets. And then I am going to pull out my stitch marker like this, put my fingers on the stitch, and put that stitch marker right back into that stitch. Okay, so then I know that now I am going to slip stitch right into that stitch. Okay. So move the stitch marker, move this out of the way, and then slip stitch right into there. There we go, nice and done. Now at this point we are going to do the 2 rows instead of the 4 rows. And now here's the thing. I determined that 2 rows would be perfect for my arms. For yours, you might need to add 3 rows here, or maybe 5 rows, but it will still be the same as I have showed you for the 4 rows and for the 2 rows. It'll still be the same. Now for 5 rows, you might have to slip stitch more, just like I showed you with the 4 rows. Okay, for the 2 rows, it'll be a little quicker. Now for some of your arms, you may only need 1 row of these. So then all you'll do is you'll do the double crochet here and start connecting it. Okay, so if you just need that 1 row, or if it's too big and you still need to do the single crochet all the way across, you can do the single crochet all the way across. Okay, so this pattern is very nice because then that way you can change this up to a thicker sleeve, a thinner sleeve, or to whatever sleeve that you need. Okay, so since we already did the other side, you'll just have to roll it like this and then bring up your stitches. Okay, so now we're going to skip 2 and of course 3 single crochets right into that stitch. And yes, my stitch marker is going to come with me. Just move it out of the way. 3 single crochets. Okay, and we're going to do this pattern all the way until we get to the end. Skip to 3rd stitch. You'll put 3 single crochet, 3 double crochets. Okay, right into that stitch. Okay, and then there you go. And you'll do that all the way down the line. And then I will meet you probably a few stitches before the end, but I'll meet you closer to the end. Okay, so I will be back shortly. Alrighty, we're at the end, and just like before, it looks like this time we have 1, 2, 3, we have 4 stitches just like before. So just like before, you will skip that 1 stitch and 3 double crochets into the next stitch. Just like this. Okay. And then you will skip the next stitch and 3 double crochets into the last stitch. Apologize, that tapping is my watch. Alrighty, and then there we are. Alright, sorry about that. Okay, and into this very last stitch you will put a double crochet, no chain 1. Okay, so there we are. Okay, and now we will work on row number 2. Alrighty, we are back for row number 2. And so now for row number 2, we are now going to connect it to the sleeve. Okay, so in order to do that, what we're going to do is we are going to chain 1, and you are going to turn your work. So grab both of the sleeves like this, hold them, and just grab your work and turn. Okay. And make sure your string is on the top, just like this. Okay, so there we go. Those are my scissors if you're wondering what that noise is. And there's a cat hair. Okay, so now here we are working on row number 2. We have just turned our work, and now what we're going to do is we're going to look for those 3 single crochets that we had in the corner, and we're going to look for that middle single crochet. And this is where we are going to put our slip stitch. So since we already chained 1, from the previous round, we're going to, I don't know why this is twisted. Here we go. If your work is twisted, you can just pull it out and just untwist it like that. Okay, and then you'll put a double crochet right into that first double crochet, just like this. And then you will find those 3 single crochets from the previous sleeve. So here's the 3 single crochets because this is the corner, and you're looking for that middle single crochet right here. Put your hook right into there, grab your working yarn, pull through, and pull right through. Then you'll pull back and look for that spacing right there under that double crochet, and you will put 3 double crochets right into that spacing. 2 and 3. Okay, and then we will, okay, 1, 2, and into that third one, that's where you put your slip stitch. Pull your work apart, 3 double crochets into the next spacing where my finger is. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And again, you will skip 2. So this is where my finger is right here. That's where the slip stitch is. You will skip 2 stitches and into the next one put a slip stitch. And then into the next spacing right here, you'll put 3 double crochets. I will meet you back down here at the end where our stitch marker is, and I'll show you what to do next. Alrighty, I am back, and I am at the very last spacing right here. Alright, so we have a few stitches before we get to the stitch marker, and it looks about like 1, 2, 3, it looks like 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into, we're going to skip a stitch and then just slip stitch into here. Now you may have more stitches than me. I am just doing this so that way it's a little more even. And then now I'm going to put 3 double crochets into this last spacing right here. Now I know this is kind of tight, and that's because we're coming down to the end of the sleeve. Alright, and so now we're at the stitch marker, and I'm going to slip stitch into this very last stitch right here to finish it off. And then what I normally like to do is flip my work around like this and take a look and see how everything looks. If I feel like, oops, keep forgetting this is a small little screen. So there we go. So this is where we stopped, and there is a big gaping hole right here. So what I am going to do is I'm probably going to slip stitch right into here. I gotta move this all the way. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to slip stitch right here into this spacing, because I feel like it's too big of a hole, and I don't know if that's really going to be a problem for later. So let's flip our work back over to where we're right here, because you can't really see anything when you're on this side. You don't know if you have big gaping holes. So there we go. There's the big gaping hole right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this stitch marker because it's really in the way. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pull the work apart, and right here is where I'm going to slip stitch into. So if you can see this, hopefully you can. I know it's a little difficult. There we go. So we're right here where we slip stitched, and then I'm going to slip stitch right into here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this stitch and then go right under. So that way there's the 3 double crochets. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull through and pull right through. And then I'm going to grab my scissors. There we go. And I'm going to cut off my yarn, just like this. Okay. And that should actually be pretty good. And then we'll tighten it. We'll move all the yarn out of the way. I'll bring out my camera. And then we'll flip it around to this side. And then you flatten it out like this. And then we can pull it up. And I think that looks much better. We closed off the hole. Now, in this video, I was actually going to show you how to connect this sleeve to our cardigan. But unfortunately, I feel the video has gone on too long, and it's probably a little bit over 30 minutes. So we're going to end the video here. All you need to do is make a second sleeve, like I did, but I messed up on it, so I'm going to redo it. And so as you can see, this little lumpy part right here is going to be your bottom sleeve, and this part on over here is going to be the top of your arm. So, sleeve, excuse me, bottom of your arm, top of your arm. And if you have to, you can always put a stitch marker saying, okay, this, where this stitch marker is going to be the top of my arm. If you honestly are unable to remember which side is which, because when you put the sleeve on, it will be against like this, okay, and it'll go across, and then this is where your cardigan will be, and then your arm will go in here, and this will be the bottom of your arm, and that will be the top of your arm. Alrighty, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to scroll down and hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. I would love to see you in my sub box. And don't forget to scroll down and hit that like button so I know you're enjoying this video. And if you have any comments, go ahead and scroll down into the comment section and write me a little comment. Let me know if you like this, you don't like it, you want to see something different. I will try to get to most of any suggestions that you have. Just remember that it does take time to make patterns. Alrighty, so hopefully you enjoyed this video, and until next time, bye-bye.